Finally.
There you are. I'm going to let the jail in and see who they have
Okay.
ready.
Ooh, this
Or we'll get.
turtleneck doesn't look great with the robe.
No, it looks good.
I look like an executioner. Just need the black hood.
Well,
I'm telling you,
they're
Shelley,
here.
it took 5 minutes to connect. The internet
Really?
is really
Have any
slow
issues
today.
at all? I hope it's not your computer. There we go. Good morning, sir. Could you give me your name, please? Can you unmute?
Joshua Hernandez.
Yes. Okay. Let me get your lawyer here. Good morning, Mr. Snyder. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
Oh,
So we're all present, Shelley?
we're waiting for Dan to turn on his
Oh, I see.
video and his audio.
Here we go.
Mr. Hernandez, do you see your lawyer on the screen there?
No, ma'am.
I'm here.
Dan, there you go. Do you see him now?
I could hear him, but I couldn't see him.
Mr. Hernandez, I'm right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you see him? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the court will call case number 6369, the state of Texas versus Joshua Isaiah Hernandez. Is the state ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
And is the defense ready?
We're ready, Your Honor.
And sir, for the record, are you Joshua Isaiah Hernandez?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hernandez, you have been charged with possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1. That's a state jail felony. It is punishable by imprisonment in the state jail division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term not to exceed 2 years or less than 180 days. In addition, the court can assess a fine not to exceed $10,000. Sir, you were charged with this by indictment. Do you want that indictment read to you, or do you waive the reading of that indictment?
I waive it.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
In that case, I'm going to ask you how you plead to this charge, guilty or not guilty.
Guilty.
Sir, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been threatened in any way or coerced or promised anything in order to make this plea?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, I am looking at a document called a felony plea of guilty waiver stipulation and judicial confession. In this document, you waive certain rights, such as the right to a trial by jury. You plead guilty and you confess or you admit that all of the state's evidence against you is correct. It appears that you have signed this document. Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
By signing this document, are you telling the court that you fully understand everything contained in this document?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you're aware of the consequences of pleading guilty here today?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Seeloff, have you consulted with your client and advised him of his rights?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Do you believe him to be mentally competent?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you approve of him signing these stipulations before the court today?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Does the state concur, Mr. Snyder?
Yes, Your Honor.
In that case, Mr. Hernandez, I will approve these stipulations and I will enter them into the court's record as state's exhibit number 1. Mr. Snyder, is there a plea agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. We have reached a plea agreement in this case. And upon Mr. Hernandez's plea of guilty to the indicted charge, we ask the court to defer further proceedings at this time and place him on deferred adjudication probation for a period of 3 years. Assess a fine of $1,250 against him, require him to pay restitution in amount of $180. And Your Honor, pursuant to this plea bargain agreement, the state will decline to prosecute an unindicted Moore County possession charge, which is our number U01540.
Mr. Hernandez, you've heard the state announce a plea agreement. Was that the plea agreement that you reached?
Yes.
And Mr. Seeloff, do you concur?
I do, Your Honor.
Right, Mr. Hernandez, I will follow the recommendation of the district attorney's office, and I will defer any finding of guilt at this time, and instead I will place you on deferred adjudication, which is more commonly known as probation, for a period of 3 years. And during that 3-year period, you will be required to follow all of the terms and conditions of probation. And before you leave the jail, a probation officer will meet with you there and will go over all of those terms and conditions with you. I'm also going to order you to pay a $1,250 fine and restitution in the amount of $180. Do you have any questions about that order?
No, ma'am.
Right, Mr. Hernandez, have you been satisfied with your representation by Mr. Seeloff?
Yes, ma'am.
And has he done everything that you asked him to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, Mr. Hernandez, thank you. I hope things go well for you from this point, and you may be excused. And I believe probation, Ms. Contreras, are you there?
Yes,
Do you know when you'll be over to the jail to meet with Mr. Hernandez?
after court's over this morning.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
You can just knock on that door, Mr. Hernandez, and they'll come get you. Oh, there you go.
Judge, how's everything going over there?
I was about to ask you the same thing. It's a little snowy. What are things like in Stinnett?
You know, it was, we didn't have any snow this morning. We had the last 2 days off and on. Not sticking or anything, but just, in fact, Sunday, it pretty much just snowed all day.
Yeah, it's mostly just flat out cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 8 degrees, I think.
Oh, we're warm. Let me see what we are right now. I think we were 12 then when I left the house.
Oh, well,
Oh, we're 11. So you know,
11
not much.
must be nice.
Yeah, I'm wearing briefs underneath. I've got my
Dan,
jail's
how are things
bringing-
going over there?
Just like you, Judge, very cold.
Very cold?
Yes.
The jail is bringing Miss Durgan now.
Okay,
I think we need to have some hot chocolate here today. That's what I'm gonna ask Ellie about that. I think we need some hot chocolate. Make it a little warmer around here.
I'm good with coffee, but I hope we have more.
Yep. It's colder here. It's been colder here a lot throughout the year than Pittsburgh. It's like, I don't understand it. Like,
Well, I'm not sure Pittsburgh is any place I'd be anyway, but when we're colder than someplace beautiful where I wouldn't live because it's cold, that's when it hurts.
Pittsburgh, not necessarily though, huh?
No.
they got a great football team though.
Are you guys football fans? Did you watch the playoff game?
Sure did. That was a good game.
I like Patrick Mahomes, but I sure did feel sorry for the guy that had the out of bounds hit that lost the game.
You know, I love Patrick Mahomes. I'm well past like, and I kind of feel sorry for the guy, but whatever it takes for the Chiefs, it's a small sacrifice somebody had to pay.
Well, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is just a good guy. Plus a phenomenal quarterback
Oh,
and an ex-Tech
I know.
person.
Get my guns up.
Yep. Gotta love the Texas Tech connection.
Uh-oh, I see Kyle Lewis is calling. Oh dear. I'm not going to answer it. I'm just chuckling that, this is getting me out of a conversation with Kyle.
We are live on YouTube, just so y'all know.
He may be watching on YouTube.
Well, Kyle would know I'm kidding.
Mm. Tech basketball won a good game yesterday. Came back from 23 points.
You know, what's funny about that, I was watching, I was flipping back. I've been so upset about how things have gone this year, not good. So I was flipping channels and I was flipping between the game and Zorba the Greek on classic movies. And I saw where they got down to 15 points and then I went to bed early. And then this morning, my buddies were texting me all about the great wins. So I missed.
Oh,
That was a good game.
Durgan,
Yes, ma'am.
do you see your lawyer, Miss Durgan? Dan, would you say something?
Hello, Miss Durgan.
Do you see your lawyer?
I'm your lawyer. Hello.
Hi.
the court will call case number 6452, the state of Texas versus Amanda Michelle Durgan. Is the state ready?
State ready, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
And for the record, ma'am, are you Amanda Michelle Durgan?
I am. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Durgan, you have been charged with assault on a peace officer. That's a second-degree felony. That's punishable by imprisonment in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a period not to exceed 20 years or less than 2 years. In addition, the court can assess a fine not to exceed $10,000. Ms. Durgan, you have been charged with this offense by indictment. Do you want that indictment read to you, or do you waive the reading of that indictment?
I'll waive that. I'll waive it.
Ms. Durgan, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
I will ask you now how you plead to that charge, guilty or not guilty.
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone threatened you or promised you something or coerced you in order to get you to make this plea?
No.
Ms. Durgan, I have in front of me a document called a felony plea of guilty waiver stipulation and judicial confession. In this document, you waive certain rights like your right to a trial by jury. You plead guilty and you admit that all of the state's evidence against you is correct. It appears that you've signed this document. Is that your signature?
That is my signature. Yes, ma'am.
By signing this document, are you telling the court that you understand everything contained in the document?
Yes.
And do you believe you're fully aware of the consequences of pleading guilty here today?
Yes.
Mr. Seeloff, have you consulted with your client and advised her of her rights?
I have, Your Honor.
Do you believe her to be mentally competent?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you approve of her making this plea of guilty before the court today and signing these stipulations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does the state concur?
Yes, Your Honor, we do.
All right. In that case, Ms. Durgan, the court will accept these stipulations and I will enter them into the court's record as State's Exhibit number 1. Mr. Snyder, is there a plea agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, we have made a plea agreement in this particular case, and upon Ms. Durgan's plea of guilty to the indicted charge, we ask the court to defer further proceedings at this time and place her on community supervision, deferred adjudication for a period of 5 years. And we further ask the court to assess a fine of $1,000.
Ms. Durgan, you've heard the district attorney's office announce the plea agreement. Is that the plea agreement that you reached?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you concur, Mr. Seeloff?
I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Durgan, I will follow the recommendation of the district attorney's office and I will defer any finding of guilt at this time. And instead, I will place you on probation or deferred adjudication for a period of 5 years. And during that 5-year period, you must follow all of the terms and conditions of probation. A probation officer will meet with you today before you leave the jail and will go over all of those terms and conditions with you. Ms. Durgan, that is a long time. Do you believe that you can follow probation terms and conditions for 5 years?
I do believe I can.
Well, good, because you understand that if you violate those terms and conditions, the court can sentence you to anything up to 20 years and solely in my discretion.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. I'm also going to order you to pay a $1,000 fine. Do you have any questions about anything I've said today?
No.
Right. Have you been satisfied with your representation by Mr. Seeloff?
Yes.
And has he done everything that you asked him to do?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Durgan. A probation officer will be coming up to the jail sometime this morning. So I will excuse you. Hope everything goes better for you from this point forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Ms. Durgan. I wish you the best.
Thank you. We're done now?
We are done.
Okay, bye-bye.
Just knock on that door and they'll come get you. That's all I have for this morning.
Yep.
Right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. No problem, Judge. Anytime I can help. I hope Erin gets feeling better. She did not sound like she felt too well.
Oh, golly.
Gonna do these this afternoon, Mark, or?
She thought she would be back, but I mean, if she's not, I'm free. I have nothing scheduled at all today, so I can definitely help her and I'll text Erin and let her know that.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
We
Thank
may
you,
see you
guys.
later.
Okay.